everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we will be completing in today's video. If you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that is something you are interested in, go ahead and subscribe. Otherwise, before we get started, the only thing you will need to do is download the color palette and the special font that we're using today. They are both linked in the description below. They're totally free to download. For the color palette, just double tap the file that downloads. It'll automatically open up in Procreate with the same colors to follow along with the video today. And then for the text, you need to add a layer of text. Open up your font library and then click this Import Font button and find the font that you downloaded to import it so that you can use it later in the video. I will also post the canvas dimensions, color profile, and layers needed on the screen here so that you can use those to set up your canvas. So take a minute to get everything ready and then come back and we will get started. Okay, this is the color palette that we have for this drawing today. So the first thing that we're going to do is set our background color. We are going to do that by going to our layer menu, selecting this bottom background color layer to open up the color picker, and we will pick the first color on the first row of our color palette to set it to that color. And then we will just go straight into adding our text. That will be the first thing that we will do. So to do that, we are going to go to the gear icon, under Add, click Add Text. And your little text bubble should pop up. It should be selected. Otherwise, double tap to select the text. And the first thing we'll do is just switch the color to this light pink color, the second one on the top row, or a different color if you don't want to use pink. Double tap your text to select it. And if clicking the keyboard icon on this bar doesn't work, go to the layer menu and on the text layer with your finger, click on the text layer and then click edit text, and that should bring up the keyboard. You might have to try a few different things a few different times. That's been happening to me. So now that we have our keyboard, we'll double tap our text and type our little happy, return, holidays, or whatever message you would like to put on your picture. You can do something different if you'd like, that's totally fine. You can still follow the tutorial the same way, even if you use different words. So once you have your message laid out, go ahead and triple tap your text to get it all selected. Click this little font area at the top to open up the font menu, and we will find our font that we downloaded, the Bubble Jelly font, or again, feel free to use any other font that you would like. Zoom out on our picture, and we will first move these bars on either side to be wider so that our text can take up more space. And then we'll increase the size, and then especially we want to increase the tracking quite a bit because we do want room to have our background layer with our darker color underneath it to kind of create our 3D effect. So our letters can't be that close together. We need a decent amount of space in between them. But then we want them to take up a good amount of room. And then you can also increase the leading a little bit if you want a little bit more room in between your lines. So I'm going to have mine about here. So size at about 130 points. Tracking somewhere between 10 and 15. And then leading at about 20 points as well. And then we're going to grab our arrow tool to select our text layer here. And then with the highlight gone away, you can kind of see better how much space you have in between your letters and stuff. So if you need to make any adjustments, you can still do so. But we just need a good amount of room to make our little background layer, but this is more than enough. And then you can also resize stuff here if you want. If you just want everything a little bit bigger, you can just set it to uniform or freeform and resize it. So then let's just make sure that snapping is turned on in the bottom left, and we are going to snap it to the center of our screen where we see both yellow lines, the vertical and the horizontal, so we're directly in the center of the screen. Okay, and then we are going to make our background darker layer of our text. So let's go to our layer menu, make a duplicate of our text layer by sliding left and hitting duplicate. Click on the bottom text layer, tap on your screen, and then triple tap to select all of our text again. Click to open up our color palette and select the third color on the top row, now the darker pink. And then I'm going to grab my arrow tool to select it and move it down and to the right a good amount so that we get a nice distance here. This will make up the sides of our 3D letters. And then we are going to make sure that we're still on our third color on the top row now. Then we're going to grab our brush and set it to the monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. I am going to set the size to about 20%. On our layer menu, find this bottom text layer here and click on it and click rasterize. So now we are able to kind of draw on this same layer, but we can no longer edit our text. And now I'm just going to zoom in on the bottom left corner of this H here, and I'm just going to where there's this gap between the two layers. I'm first going to start underneath the corner of this light pink layer, start there underneath it, and then draw a line straight down to meet the bottom corner of my dark pink layer. Hold it down till it turns into a perfect shape. Click the top here line thing to edit our line a little bit and just make sure that these meet up nicely. So we don't want this to stick out where we can see the dark pink outside of it, but just hide it right under the corner here, but so that it meets up real nicely and looks kind of seamless. Then we'll click our pen tool again to go back to it and just fill in any gap that there may be right here as well. And then we're just going to do that all the way around for all of our letters. So I'm just going to go up to the top corner here and do the same thing, just kind of create a line, hold it down, fill it in, another line. This time I'll need to edit it and fill it in. And if the lines aren't working, you can always just not hold your pen down and just kind of freeform a line and make it nice and smooth there. And that might work for some different letters as well. You might not always be able to make a line. Like this one kind of looks too flat with a line. I might just kind of round it out just a little bit like so. Okay, so that's it for the H, but now we're going to move on to the A, and this is kind of where things change a little bit. So down here we have a curve. We don't want a straight line here. That doesn't really do much. We just kind of want to slowly follow the curve down here where the space is between our two layers and just kind of seamlessly make them transition together. But again, at more of a curve than a line. Up here I can see the teeniest little gap. You might not have this, or you might have a bigger one depending on how far you moved your dark pink layer. But I'm just going to fill that in briefly. Same thing down here. I'm just going to fill in this whole space. And then I will draw a line from this corner to this corner now, like so. Fill in this gap. Draw a line from this corner to this corner, like so. Again, kind of maybe round this one out a little bit more like that. And then even from here, we might just see the teeniest. And then that is it for our A. So that's how we'll just deal with all these shapes. Just kind of smoothly transition each one into the darker color to make a nice connected blocky area. Okay, so then that is it for that part of our text. So once you're done, we will move on to adding the pattern over our light pink color. So to do that, we are going to go to our layer menu. This layer 1 on the bottom hasn't been used yet, so we are going to use that for our pattern. So we are going to drag that to the top of our layer menu, right above our light pink text layer that's at the top. Click on this new layer and set it to clipping mask. Grab the light pink color, the fourth one on the top row, and we are going to use a pattern brush that already exists within Procreate. It's under the textures category and it's this diagonal pattern. We're going to have that set to maybe 70%, and I'm just going to drag this all over my text layer without picking up my brush. Make sure to cover all of the text so that it all has this nice pattern on it, like so. Okay, so then that is it for our text. We are now going to move on to our greenery piece across the top of our picture, and then we'll duplicate it for the bottom part. So in order to get a nice straight line of greenery across the top, we're going to kind of just draw a quick guideline. So we'll go to our layer menu, add a new layer. We can use this same light pink color that we're on, the fourth one on the top row. Switch our brush back to the monoline brush though, under the calligraphy tab. I still have mine at just about 20%. And I'm going to draw a straight line across the top of my canvas, going off the edge on each side. So I'm just going to start on the outside left side, draw straight across, hold it down till it snaps into a perfectly straight line. Touch my finger to the screen to get it to stay perfectly horizontal, and then let it go. I'll click this button on the top of the screen for my line to edit it, and I am just going to kind of drag it around here. So I just kind of want to cut this top part of the screen in half so that, you know, it's kind of right in the middle of this upper area here. So this is just going to kind of be my guideline for my leaves and stuff. So let's go ahead and add a new layer on top of this on our layer menu, and we will start drawing the first set of leaves. So we'll grab the first color on the second row of our color palette. We will stick with our monoline brush. We'll increase the size to maybe 70%. And the first thing we're going to do is just draw a wavy line that's going to be the base of like our vine of leaves. So that is why we have this guide here. So we do want it to stay straight across. We don't want it to be angled at all or get too wonky. So we're just going to kind of use this as a guide. So I'm going to start on the left right about where my line is, and I'm just going to very lightly like wave it up and down, keeping it kind of right on this line. So that was a really just quick example, but now I'm going to do it faster so that we get a smoother line. So something kind of like this, so it can go above it, below it, you know, but we just kind of want to keep it pretty straight across. If yours is at all still a little wonky and you want to like just adjust it a little bit, you can always grab the arrow tool and you can use this little bar to rotate it. So mine's like a teeny bit a little wonkier than I would like, so I'm going to use the bar to rotate it, and I'm just going to increase it on each side just a little bit so that I know it's going off the side of the screen on each side as well still. So this is going to be my starting point here. So now I'm going to go to my layer menu and get rid of this pink horizontal line. We can get rid of that now. We'll add a new layer above our vine layer to draw our leaves on. Same color, same brush. And I'm going to turn my canvas to make it easier. So I'm just going to start at the base here. And I'm just going to use my brush and come off the line and make a nice little leaf shape like this. So I'm just going to do this all the way down. Again, that was just kind of a quick example. We'll make it a little nicer this time, like so. And then fill them in as you go, just alternating sides. The biggest thing is just that we want to keep them roughly the same size as each other. And if you need to smooth out any parts of your vines while you go along, that's fine too. You can make some of them thicker even just to accommodate for the base of our leaves. And then as we get to the end, this is going to be my last full one, but I will just kind of pretend to start one going right off the edge here, like there would be next. And then similarly, I'm going to go back to the starting point here, and we would maybe see the teeniest little tip of a leaf like right here, and then maybe a bigger one right here as well. Bigger because this is kind of like our alternating. So this is what we ended up with. So just take your time, make it nice and smooth, make sure all the sizing looks good to you, and then we will move on. So next, now that our leaves are done, we can merge it with our vine layer. So we didn't merge it at first just in case you need to like go through and erase any pieces of your leaves. You're not like also erasing the vine. So now that that's all set and looks great, we can merge these two layers together, so our leaves and our vine, onto one layer by snapping them together like so. And then on the same layer, we'll add our highlights. So we will go to our color palette and grab the second color on the second row, same monoline brush, and I'm just going to zoom in on the left here, and this is going to be like our highlight color, like so. That's a little too big though, so we are going to drop our brush size to maybe 30%. So I'm just going to go through on each of the tips of the leaves and kind of make some little highlight marks with our brush. So I'm just going to kind of change up how they are. Maybe some are like just along the side. Maybe some are like, you know, a couple dots and a line. Maybe some of them go like around the top of the leaf. So we'll just kind of mix it up as we go. Okay, so that's it. Very simple little highlighting there. And then now we're going to use this same color to make the vine for our next little set of leaves. So we are going to do that on a new layer again. So go to our layer menu, add a new layer above this one. So same color, same brush. We'll increase the size just a little bit to like 50%. And now this new stem is going to be wrapping around like our current set of leaves here. So in order to do that, we are going to first make a squiggly line and then erase parts of it. So I'm going to start on the left side here, right where our vine hits the edge, and I'm going to start it above that. And then I'm going to slowly do this all the way down. So very wiggly all the way down. So I'm going to do that a little bit better now. Okay, so kind of like that, just back and forth all the way down, like so. And then we're going to grab our eraser tool. We are going to set this also to the monoline brush under the calligraphy tab at about 50%. And now essentially I'm just going to kind of decide where it's going to go under my other set of leaves at. So right here on this left side here, I am going to have it go up This part's going to be in front. Then I'm going to decide that right here it's going to go behind my leaf. So I'm going to erase that bit of the vine until it comes out the other side. Then I'm going to decide that it goes in front again until it gets here. So kind of just I give every good little squiggle in front. So now it's just kind of like slowly wrapping around in like a spiral. So it goes up and then behind and then up and then behind. So I'm just going to erase this nicely right here. You don't want to erase too much to where you see the sky, just right where our green leaves are. Then again, up and around, and then right here, it's going to go behind. You'll see the teeniest little bit of it here, but then it's still going to be behind. It's not going to come out in front of that one leaf. And then it's going to come in front again, behind again, in front again, behind again. And then it'll end with this part going in front and off the screen. So just do that all the way down, however it works out for your picture. So now we're going to add our leaves for this stem on another layer again. So on our layer menu, add a new layer above this and grab our next color in line, the third one on the second row, the lighter green. And we are just going to make very basic leaves all the way around. So again, I'm going to tilt it sideways so that I can work my way up. I'm going to drop my size to about 20%. And I'm just going to make very basic leaves coming off of this stem, like 2 parentheses or 2 curved lines coming together to make a leaf shape like this. And then they just kind of land in the middle of my stem, like so. So then I'm going to tilt it and do every other again in different directions. So I'll have one down here, and then I did one on the left. So now I'll do the right again. And I'm just kind of tilting to go with my vine. So I'm just going to make some pretty small leaves, and I'm not going to make a ton of them. I'm going to space them out pretty far so that we're not drawing leaves all day. So just going to again alternate on the way down. And then like this will be my last one for this little section. So now we go behind, so I'll skip a ways. And then when we come back out, I'll make another one on this side, or whatever side you feel right about. And then we'll start alternating again. And again, just kind of keep an eye on the sizes of your leaves as you're going to try to make them all pretty similar. Sometimes it's easy to kind of let it start getting out of hand, and then all of a sudden the last ones you drew are twice as big as the first one. So just kind of keep an eye on it as you're going. Okay, so now we're finally to the end. This last one is going to go off the screen a little bit, but that's okay. And that is where we will leave it. So then just kind of zoom back out and take a look at everything. Reduce them if you need to. Mine did get like maybe a teeny bit bigger at the end, but not like out of control. So we are going to leave them like that. And then next we're going to add our holly berries. So that's going to be on another new layer. So if you want or if you need to, you can merge these two layers together now that they're done. So now our stem and leaves of our second set are also on the same layer. Then we'll add a new layer for our holly berries to be on above everything. Grab the red color, the fourth one on the second row, same monoline brush. Again, we'll increase the size. This time we'll just increase the size all the way up to 100 to help us make our berries. So again, I'm just going to start on the left side here, and we're just going to make berries all the way down, touching at least, one or both of our stems, so they're not just going to be floating in the air at all, but they don't have to be in any certain order or clusters or anything. I'm just going to kind of draw them as I see fit. So I'm just going to start here, work in a circular motion to make it a little bit bigger. And we're just going to do this all the way down. You can do kind of like some little clusters if you want. Maybe I'll do like 2 together there. I'm keeping them mostly towards the center of my stems. I'm not putting any like way out here on the side of a leaf, just more towards my stems. Okay, so just kind of a sprinkling of those all the way down. And then lastly, we'll add some little sprigs in the background just to kind of give a little bit more volume to our garland here. So we will go to our layer menu and we are actually going to add this new stuff behind all of the stuff we already created. So let's add a layer, drag it below our 3 layers of all of our different stems and leaves and holly berries. So you'll be right above our clipping mask to our text, and it'll probably automatically turn your layer into a clipping mask. That's fine, but let's go ahead and shut that off. So click on the layer, turn off clipping mask. So it should just be a normal layer right above our stripes here. So the first thing we're going to do is make the little stems of the sprigs, and we're going to do that using the 5th color on the 2nd row. Again, the monoline brush, our favorite brush. And we're going to drop the size again to about 30%. And essentially just every so often I am going to draw a little sprig coming out of the back, just a straight line, not really straight, but slightly curved. Just kind of coming out from behind our main stem. And just kind of into the open here. Like so. Trying to keep the lengths pretty similar. They don't have to be identical. But just kind of following the shape of our existing garland here. So I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the top. I think that's pretty good. Kind of sporadic. I didn't do every other leaf. I just kind of did every couple, then I just skipped 1, then I skipped 2. So that is the little stems. And then we're just going to add some bright white like balls to the end of our little sprigs here. So grab that color on our color palette, the bright white color, the 6th one on the 2nd row. We can do this all in the same layer and set our size to 100%. And I am just going to start at the tip of each of these, work in a circular motion to make a pretty big little circle here. Bigger than our holly berries. So just do that for each one. They don't even have to be like perfectly round. They can be a little kind of oddly shaped here and there. Okay, so something like that. If you feel like you need to add any more, go ahead and do so, or I might even just like move one of them It's like a little heavier on the right side here. It's kind of heavy, and then there's just like the 2 on the end here. So I am going to grab my selection tool on freehand with color fill turned off, and I'm just going to select around this one here, kind of trying to isolate it. Click my arrow tool to move it, and I'm just going to move it down here and kind of nestle it behind my stem there. That just kind of balances it out a little bit better. So now it's not so heavy on the right side, it's kind of more even all the way down. So again, make any adjustments if you need to, but this is what we ended up with. So this looks really good. Now we are going to duplicate it for the bottom. So what we're going to do is go to our layer menu and put all of these in a group together. So we already have this bottom one selected with our white balls on the ends. So that is what we have selected. Slide right on the others to select them also, and then click group so that they are grouped together. I'm going to click the arrow here to minimize the group. Slide to the left and hit duplicate so we get another one. Click the arrow tool. Click flip horizontal and then click flip vertical. Make sure that snapping is turned on in the bottom left, and I'm just going to drag it down and make sure it's still snapped to the center of the screen. You should see a yellow line in the middle, and then you should see yellow lines on the sides as well. So that shows that we're perfectly lined up where we should be. And then just drag it down into this open space down here and find a nice spot for it, like so. Click the arrow tool, and now this is what we are left with. And then I might just do a quick another adjustment here. I feel like my bottom section is closer to the edge and closer to my text than my top section is, so it looks a little unbalanced. So I'm going to move my top section and my text up a little bit. So I'm going to go to my layer menu, select my text layers, all 3 of them. So select one, slide right on the other 2, and then I'm going to grab this bottom group here, which is my top garland. So slide right on that one also. Click the arrow tool and just drag it straight up just a little bit, keeping it again on my yellow line so that we're still on the screen where we should be. So about there maybe, and now I feel like my top section is about the same distance to my edge as my bottom section, and there's more space in between my text, so that just looks very balanced now. So make adjustments if you need them. Otherwise, that is it for our drawing today. So I hope you had fun. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more tutorials from me in the future. If you would like to share your drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it. So go ahead and post it and then tag me so that I can check it out. While you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so that you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching.